All right, welcome back here to the Hill on News Nation. Tonight, as the state of Texas is consumed by Friday night lights and state football playoffs, there's another focus in schools, the Bible. The Texas State Board of Education voting 8-7 to approve Bible curriculum as an option for kindergarten through the 5th grade. Though the schools aren't required to enforce Bible-based lessons, they will receive extra funding if they do. Now, Oklahoma recently paved the way, mandating the Bible in schools for grades 5 through 12. The top educator in that state defended the idea, telling me it should happen nationwide.
You have to have it in the classrooms. We will ensure that history is taught in every class. That means kids will know American exceptionalism. That means kids will know the role that faith played. We will be unapologetic about that here in Oklahoma. We want to make sure that every student knows the role that the Bible played in American history.
All right, so that what was going on in Oklahoma, and then some moves in Texas tonight. Joining us now, Dr. Audrey Young, who sits on the Texas State Board of Education representing parts of the greater Houston and southeastern parts of the state. She voted yes earlier today. Dr. Young, thanks for joining us here on the Hill.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me why you voted the way you did and why this was so split among the group there in Texas.
I voted because I believe in teaching American principles, and I believe that the literacy is a critical juncture at this time across our nation. And we want to ensure that the students are exposed to the most referenced. And so I chose to ensure that our students who are working through the literacy of all of our nation, but well within the state of Texas, are learning what they need to learn in order to be an important part of knowing the history of America and the history of how our nation was founded. So
I referenced Oklahoma, right? Because you know what's going on across the Red River there in Oklahoma. And what's happening with the Bible being mandated in classes. Earlier this week as well, I had Senator Markwayne Mullin from the state of Oklahoma on the show, and he pushed back on the idea of this. I want you to listen to what he said, and I'll get your reaction on the other side.
I think it's a slippery slope when you put it in the hands of teachers that may not be believers, that's going to be teaching the word that can easily be taken out of context. So if the state is going to require that, then the state should also be required that it's taught by someone that graduated from seminary school.
Do you understand the point there? It's essentially like saying, I don't really want a science teacher teaching English if they're not, if that's sort of not what they do every single day. What about that argument from the senator?
Would you equate it with like that if you don't have your own child, you shouldn't be teaching children? And that would be the question that I would ask.
Say that again?
So, I'm sorry?
Say that again? No, he was basically saying, look, if you don't have the background to teach this, you shouldn't be teaching it. Not that if the Bible should or shouldn't be in the class. It's just a different perspective of maybe they're not, maybe teachers in public schools, the many thousands of them, have the background to teach this.
Yes, and I don't agree with his viewpoint. I do think that we're in the curriculum that we adopted today. It is stories that come from the Bible. We are not teaching the Bible. And that might be the difference between what he is speaking to and what has happened today in the state of Texas.
Do you believe the state should take the next step and do what Oklahoma is doing, which is to mandate Bibles in the classroom?
That is not within the purview of the State Board of Education. Thank you for asking me that question. But we do have the 89th legislature coming through. And so I don't have any doubt that it will be part of what we will see coming up very shortly in the state of Texas.
And that would happen when?
Starts in January.
Starts in January. Okay. All right. We'll see where it goes. Dr. Audrey Young, who was a part of the vote there today down there in the Lone Star State, joining us here on the Hill. I thank you for your time. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.